ladies, and I guess gentlemen too, even though it's a Superwoman handbook, oftentimes we can feel stuck. We can feel like we're just in survival mode every day, and there's not a lot of tools. So, we have our friend Lex here today who's going to show us, talk to us, tell us how she gets unstuck when she feels like it's just survival mode every day.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me. I love talking about this because I was stuck in survival mode for over 20 years. And now that I'm not, I see how beautiful and easy life is. And I want to share with every woman out there because I think that we all deserve to know how it can be and then work toward that to live the life that we want on our terms.
I love that. So, how did you first kind of decide you wanted to do this? I want to do this. And then what's the first step?
Was always interested in inner work, right? So I always like loved the idea of meditation. I heard about manifestation, and yeah, I even got hit by a car when I was 16, and I didn't know at that time about power of positive thinking, but I actually was really positively oriented toward everything, and my I grew a bone back, which is impossible in medical terms. And that was really my first introduction to that. But when I moved to United States, I kind of got stuck in survival mode because I felt alone, I felt abandoned, and it was just this rat race I was on. And I was so unhappy, and I never really realized that all of that is really the world is just a projection of how I feel inside. And I know that now. So I did start trying to find tools. I did start trying to meditate and do positive affirmations, and it helps somewhat, but it doesn't really get to the core. And one of those things led to another, and I was like, keep searching for answers, keep searching for answers. I got to nervous system, and I was like, why is nobody talking about this? This is the root. This is everything. And I also was in fitness and health industry for over 20 years, and clients would come to me. Some would get great results, some would not get results, some would get some results. Then they would leave and then would come back and say, I gained the weight back again, or I'm not feeling great. And I was like, why are we not sticking to what we said we would? Why is it that we want it so bad and it's still not happening? And so that, along with what I was doing, was just making me go into this work. And once I got to this root cause, it transformed my life. And now, like, of all my clients, because it's just this work cannot not work. Like it's the root cause of everything. And the moment we start addressing it, the moment we realize how much power we have, everything changes.
So, when you say nervous system, I mean, that sounds like legit. Like, this just isn't in your head. You don't need to just rub some dirt on it and suck it up. It sounds like there's a real system here.
Yes, and I love how you said that, oh, just suck it up, right? And that's the mentality we live in. I'm going to preface by saying this. We as women had no rights for a really long time. I'm talking about generations before. Then women fought for rights. It was called feminism. One thing that we had to do as women was fight for equality. The problem is we're not equal to men. We're better. But besides the point right now, we operate on a different level than men. We live in this man's world, which is Monday through Friday, operate the same every day, hustle harder, suck it up, buttercup, right? Where we work in cycles. Our natural cycles actually go according to the moon cycles. Now you're starting to get into like weird space of like, wait, what? Now you got to see that a year is supposed to have 13 months, 28 days each, which is according to our cycle, according to the moon cycle, which now let's get a little bit weird for a second, is shown on every turtle's back. I don't want to get into it too weird, but it's like when you start connected to nature, you go, what? And that just starts making you go down this rabbit hole of like, there's magic to this. And you start reconnecting with your inner truth, which is the feminine, which is intuition, which is connection, which is love. And you go, this sounds familiar, but it can't work. It can't be this easy. That's the moment when we're walking into this to go, wait a minute, what's happening here? And then when you look into the whole system, rather than, okay, I've been doing these affirmations, nothing works. I've been doing this positive thinking. It's not really sticking. What's happening? Well, what's happening is your nervous system is not wired to just change like that. Our nervous system, if anybody is listening to this and just wants to take one thing out of this, this is it. Our nervous system doesn't have logic. So it doesn't matter how bad you want to earn more money, lose weight, have a better relationship. It doesn't matter how much you hate being where you are. Your nervous system doesn't operate on logic. It operates on what's familiar. And what's familiar is safe. What's unfamiliar is unsafe. So it's always going to go back to familiar, even if it's painful, even if we don't want it, even though that's the very one thing we're fighting, because it thinks that what's familiar is safe. And the whole nervous system runs throughout the whole body. This is why I always say it's not just in your mind. Trauma lives in our whole body. Until we address it fully, we're not going to be able to change permanently, which is why you see that people gain weight and then they try to lose it and then they gain again and then they lose it. You see it with money. People earn more money, then all of a sudden their lifestyle changes, they're back to zero. Relationships, they jump into a next relationship and it's like the same person that they were with before. Like we've seen people who do this. We see other people better than see ourselves, which is why I'm giving these examples. Because all of us can recognize in one of those things, but we can also recognize others and be like, whoa, yeah, why don't we stick to things we say? Because of our nervous system and it doesn't operate on logic, it will always go back to what's familiar until we calm it in the now so it feels safe in the now. That's the first step. And the second step is showing it that the future that we want is also safe. Otherwise, people are going to feel stuck forever. And I did for over 10, no, 20 years.
So, how do you sit down with your nervous system and say, girl, get it together? We're not happy here. How do you start those conversations?
Well, sometimes it happens instantly, and that's very rare, which is why I tell about it to people so they know it can happen. And if it's happened to them, they understand what happened, but we don't count on that. That happens often when we had a huge life changing event, right? When I was in my upper teens, 18, 19, I used to smoke. And because I come from Europe, everybody smokes in Europe. And my best friend's dad died from lung cancer. And that's the day I got disconnected from it. I said, that's it. I remember this so bad. Like 3 days later, I was in Walgreens standing behind a guy who smelled like cigarettes. And I was like, this is so gross. I completely changed my identity. I rewired my nervous system with conviction. So that is one thing that can happen. If you have so much conviction, it can override your current reality. But we don't count on that because we can't just make up conviction. I can't just like come up with conviction. It just happens, right? Like it happens when our body's like sick and tired of how it was. The other way is loving it, right? So the whole hustle culture is suck it up, buttercup. Let's try harder. Let's do this. Let's try again. Have more discipline. Get up. Go do cold plunges. All of that is man stuff. We as women need to connect with feminine. Feminine is not push harder. Feminine is love harder, love more, right? So when I learn to, well, first be aware. I have to first be aware of the way I'm talking with myself. I have to first be aware of the way I'm talking about money, about my body, about my significant other. Once I raise awareness, I can start doing the deeper work. Now, warning, when we raise awareness, we only start seeing ourselves taking the wrong action. And this is really hard mentally. And I warn every one of my clients about this because when you start seeing yourself take the wrong action and you can't actually stop yourself, it drives you nuts because it goes into the whole, what is wrong with me? Why am I doing this? And I can't stop myself. Why am I eating this cake? I know I shouldn't be eating this cake. Yeah, that's your nervous system. That's just your nervous system doing what it's supposed to do, still not getting the memo that we're on the mission to change, right? And so we have to keep doing this work. This is like brushing teeth, you know? You can't do this once. You can't meditate once a week and think things are going to change. What would happen if you brush your teeth once a week? It wouldn't work. So we have to do this every single day. We have to be aware of our choices and our actions, of our thoughts and our feelings. And there's a process I take my clients through to do one step at a time. And then we have to start slowly and lovingly changing that. I shouldn't feel this way. I should know, like Tony Robbins says, we should all over ourselves. We can't do that. We actually have to work gently with our nervous system to show it, you know what? It's safe right now. There is no danger right now. The problem is that people get stuck in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn in the survival mode, and they don't know it because that's their normal. And generally, this started somewhere in childhood for most people, if not all people. At least some beliefs got created there. We're never going to change who we are if we don't rewire our nervous system and if we don't start changing our beliefs.
So, what would a journey look like? So, let's say someone is like, I want to make a change. I don't know how to do it. I want to work with a coach. I want to work with a guide. What would that journey look like? Just so if anyone's thinking of it, they can be emotionally prepared for what may come next.
Well, I can speak what I do with my clients, right? One of the things we first do is I put them on a mental diet, 7-day mental diet. It is something that they do for 7 days. They have to observe every thought they have, not try to change it, not try to fix it, just observe and get familiar with, oh, wow, I have been really negative about my body. Wow. And usually this is the reaction. I mean, I thought I had better handle of my thoughts. I mean, I knew I wasn't great, but I didn't know it was that bad, right? And so that's the first step. The second week, I take them through body awareness. So just like they were paying attention to their thoughts, they start paying attention to their emotions, their feelings, and their physicality, right? Where am I feeling this? Oh, I'm feeling tightness in my chest. What else am I feeling? Right. So it can be physical and it can be emotional. And then after that, I really tailored per person. I mean, there's a whole system we go into how is their sleep, but their sleep cannot be great if they live in survival mode because nervous system will not let us sleep, go into deep sleep if there's potential danger around. So then we go into meditations, some affirmations, body work, like taking deep breaths, EFT tapping. It really depends per person. I love breath work, for example, because it's like, hey, I'm breathing already. I might as well just do it wherever I am to learn to calm my body down. But I've had a couple of clients who couldn't take a deep breath because they were so stuck in fight or flight that they couldn't. So we did EFT tapping and that worked really well for them. So it really starts differentiating per person there. And then it also, I let them kind of guide me to which area of their life they generally want to focus on the most. I even have, a way of getting all the information from a person of how they want their life to live. So now we're shifting from just being stuck in the past or being stuck in anxiety future to actually start thinking, wait, maybe I have power to do this. All while calming the body down, making sure we understand we're not just reactive, we actually get to respond and understanding that success is not a straight line. We're going to go up and down because when we're learning how to respond and we've always reacted, we have to learn how to respond. I had to learn how to say a certain things. I had to learn how to voice my opinion. I had to learn how to take deep breaths and actually talk with myself, right? One of the exercises I have sometimes clients do is go in front of a mirror and talk kindly to yourself. They will do anything. They would rather run a marathon with no training than do that. And I'm like, don't you think it's a little odd that we have no way of talking to ourselves in a comfortable way? We're that uncomfortable facing ourselves. They usually go, oh wow, there's a disconnect there, right? I always say I spend the most time with myself. You spend the most time with yourself. We're with ourselves 24/7. So wouldn't it make the most sense that I become my own best friend? Because otherwise it's going to be like a life sentence, which to me for 20 years it felt like it was.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it because you do spend the most time with yourself. And we had a guest on a couple weeks ago who was talking about love and how you have to love yourself first. And so many of us miss that step, and then it translates into every other relationship that we have. So, kind of, what
Yes.
is your take on loving yourself and your central nervous system and how they kind of partner together?
Okay, so I'm so glad you're talking about this because love is the highest vibration possible in this world. There's nothing beyond love. Love is it, right? So this whole journey is really about getting to a place where I can love myself and love the world. Now, the world is a reflection of me. When I was miserable, when I hated my life, I hated everything else. And happy people used to piss me off. Like, what the heck are you so happy about? Like, they used to piss me off. Where now I'm that happy person, right? I'm the one annoying the miserable people, which is fine, right? I was there. I'm not judging. Everybody's on their own journey, right? So, yes, this journey leads to self love. However, if someone has lived in survival mode, in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, they're generally not knowing what that even looks like. And remember, what's familiar is safe, what's unfamiliar is unsafe. So, if the familiar thing is, I don't talk to myself kindly, I don't treat myself well, I put myself last, that's what feels safe. So the moment we say you need to love yourself, our nervous system goes, no, no, that doesn't sound safe. No, we need to go back to the way we used to be. No logic. Remember, no logic. So we have to teach our nervous system what it actually feels like and looks like, which is a process, which is why I say it's first self-acceptance. You got to get to neutral. Fine. I tolerate myself. Right? Okay, fine. I'm there. Right? And then slowly lead into self-love. And we know this when it comes to, our kids, our pets, our loved ones. right? If a child, if we have a toddler around us and they're learning how to walk, we are super encouraging. And if they fall, we're like, don't worry about it. This is so great. You had to fall, blah, 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 right? But we never talk like that to ourselves, right? If our loved one was, God forbid, ill or sick, we're like, you know what, you can do it. Like, it's going to be fine. You're going to be okay. We're giving them the love, the connection, right? But to ourselves, we're like, oh, you stupid. How could you drop that coffee this morning? That's so stupid of you. Look at your stupid bad butt, right? Like, we have all these awful terms for ourselves. But remember, I spend 24/7 with myself. So if I'm the one talking like that to myself, what kind of a relationship is that going to be? If that was another partner, everybody would be like, get out of that abusive relationship, right? So we have to focus on just everything. How I feel, learning how to feel safe in the now, how I talk, how I act. And the way I start acting, talking, walking differently, things are going to start to shift. My nervous system is going to keep pulling me back to the familiar, but over time, I'm going to show it that one step at a time is safe. There's no bear about to attack me because that's for your nervous system. Our nervous system thinks there's dangers. There's no difference if there's a bear about to attack me or, someone just coming off. To your nervous system, it's kind of the same thing. And this is where we want to get to. We want to open our window of tolerance so that we can wire our nervous system to feeling calm, feeling safe, right? And that's why they say, this person is good under pressure. Well, they're not under pressure. Actually, their window of tolerance is big and they can stack more things in there. They're not even feeling the pressure because they're responding versus reacting. So yes, the path to self-love is the path. We have a whole life to work on that. Right now, we just got to start by observing, where am I at right now? Am I in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, which most people are in most of the times. And then, oh, wow, I'm really reactive. Okay, let me take a few deep breaths before I react. Let me take a few deep breaths and remove myself from that situation. Let me see where my energy leaks are, people who leak our energy, environment that leaks our energy, and start bringing myself back. Let me work on these things. Let me meditate. Let me sit still for 2 minutes, which most people will say, I just can't do that. I'm just not good at that. And I'm like, that's exactly what we're working on. It would be like, hey, let's go learn how to ride a motorcycle. And so I was like, I don't know how to ride it. So what's the point? We're on to go learn how to do that, right? So that's what the meditation is, learning how to sit still, learning how to observe our thoughts, learning how to be in the now, in the present moment. Because past has passed. It doesn't exist. Future doesn't exist yet. There's only this present moment. But we spend most of the time in the past, in the arguments that happened 20 years ago or never even happened. We're just imagining them. Or we're creating anxiety over future. What if something bad happens? Which is what our brain is wired to do. And this is why this work has to be done every day. But now I want to actually be in the present. And if I think of future, I want to think of the future that I want. There's something even called memory mapping, where we change the memories from the past, but not everybody's ready for that work either.
Yes, I had written that down in my notes when we met earlier and kinda just talked about what we're gonna talk about today, and you talked about memory mapping. I was like, "That is so cool."
Yeah.
But I wanted to kinda touch on what you said about kind of you create the life you want. I have an ex, and I joke that he literally had a minimum daily quantity of pissed off he had to be. And
Yes.
if he didn't get it from us at home, he was gonna get it on the road through road rage, or
Yes.
he was gonna get it through a coworker. And I teased about it, but in talking with you, I almost think it is legit. Like, he
Yeah.
had a
Oh,
immense amount.
100%. Yes, he is addicted to that, which we all are. But some people don't like the word addiction. They prefer the word habit. I'm like, pick the word that works for you. Okay. Like, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, the habit is not as bad. Really? Have you ever tried to stop a habit? Like,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
addiction, right? So when I spend a lot of time in my negative thoughts of nobody loves me, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, nobody's going to love me the way I am, whatever, right? Which we all had at some point in lives. When we do that for a long time, our body becomes physically addicted to the physical and chemical reactions of these emotions. And we need to get that hit daily. This is why you see this in both ways. You see really happy people, happy all the time. Something happens to them, like tragic, their mom dies or something. They'll go down for a minute, but they're like right back up after a while. They're like, oh, you know what? Still good. Life is still good. After a while, they go back. Here, where I was down here, and I was like your ex. I was always pissed off, and I may get happy for a second, but I gotta get down. I gotta get back down. what people don't realize, and this is really, really powerful, but not everybody's going to be ready to hear this. We create these circumstances that are going to look like they're out of our control to only prove to ourselves that that belief is right, that that belief is correct, and that I am meeting that energetic level on a daily basis. So you're absolutely right. He had to do that. My mom was also addicted to stress. I remember recognizing that when I was young. I was like, if you have nothing to worry about, you're going to figure something out. And that's exactly what it was. I didn't know at the time. I didn't really recognize it at the time, but it is. It's an addiction to our emotions, to our physical, chemical, and hormonal reactions of the body to this. Lynn, highly addictive, which is why when it comes to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, I was usually in the fight. Like I'm ready. And adrenaline makes us feel good. It makes us feel powerful. But what's hiding behind it is I'm not allowing myself to feel vulnerable because admitting to myself that I'm lonely, admitting to myself that I feel unlovable, admitting to myself that I'm not happy, all that makes me feel vulnerable. Where if I have adrenaline rush, I feel very powerful, right? And so to me, this is the most important work someone can do because once we get to know ourselves and get to know how we operate and actually understand that I'm creating my reality, some people don't like to hear that. But once you hear that and you're like, wait, that gives me power to change it. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I love this. Like in your examples resonate. Like as you were speaking, I was thinking about my like just recent last few months. I was so used to going 100 miles an hour, having 74 things to do, and I was comfortable. That was my comfort zone. And as those things got off my plate and as we got efficiencies in our process, I would have moments in the day where I was like, why am I not stressed out right now? Why I should be worrying about something. And then I even said to myself, is it okay to not be stressed out right now? Is it
Love it.
okay to not feel that? And I had to sit and go, yeah, it's okay. The dog's been fed, all my emails have been answered, no one's starving to death. Like it's okay to have this break. So I know exactly what you're describing, but
Yeah.
I just didn't know it had an actual name.
So you were basically fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. You were in flight. Flight is I'm so busy. I am so busy. I have thousand things to do. My to-do list forever makes us feel good, makes us feel productive. I am busy. I'm important. There's all these things. I'm not judging. I've done it, right? I've done
Yeah.
all four, right? It actually goes really well with fawn, which is over people pleasing, forgiving, never saying no. And it goes really well because if I say yes to everything, I stay busy and it makes me feel good because I'm productive. I'm doing all these things, right? And so what you did is magical without even knowing you did it, which is when your nervous system was like, wait a minute, wait a minute. We need to be worried about something. Why are we not worried about anything? Things are going to fall apart if we don't worry. You went, wait, is it okay? And what you did with that is you allowed yourself space to just be like, no, it's actually totally okay to do that. And your nervous system was able to receive that message to go, okay, this is safe. It's safe not to worry about things. It's safe. And you're right, it's a detox, right? You had to do it a little bit of time and you would probably catch another thought and be like, no, wait, it's okay. Everything is working out. Yeah, absolutely. It's the same thing that happened to me after I reduced the hours that I'm working. After like even just the other day, I finished everything in about an hour and a half. And I usually spend about 3 to 5 hours working on my stuff daily. But we're automating a lot of things now. And it was an hour and a half later, and I went, can I leave now? Should I be done for the day? Right? Like it was such a weird experience. I'm like, well, I do if I'm not working right now. I'm like, I'm gonna go play with my son. It's like giving yourself slowly permission. And what we're doing in both these cases, we're allowing the nervous system to see that this is actually safe. This is totally okay. And then it becomes your new normal, right? And it becomes your new normal, and you're like, oh my God, why did I do so much? I would never go back to doing so much stuff. Like it becomes your new reset, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this. So let's say someone wanted to reach out to you online, find more material. If light bulbs have gone off in their head during this talk, where can they find you online?
I'm all over social media. My website is leks.pro, leks.pro. I occasionally have 3-day challenges that are free. That would be a great way to get in and see what's going on and figure out like all this work that I'm talking about because we do meditations, we do prompts, we do visualization, we do a lot of things in there that help calm the nervous system in the now and then rewire it for the future as well. Besides that, I have a YouTube channel. You can find me again by my name, Leks Vucko. That's Leks Vucko. I am on Facebook, Instagram. I'm pretty much everywhere. so people can find me, connect with me, and see what I'm talking about so much and why I'm so passionate about this because everyone needs to know this.
I love it. And for me, I need to put a name on things. That just helps my brain organize. And so I love that you've put a name to this and an actual system. It's not just, that yes, that person's addicted to having drama in their day. Like, ha ha ha. Like put a name on it. A process for it and a recovery path, for lack of a better word, because recovery, you're right, is a little, but that you can make changes. It is within your control, and I just love that you've taken your life experience, you've turned it into purpose, and you're sharing it with us. I'm
Thank
just
you.
so honored to have you here today.
I'm so honored that you're allowing me space to share this with ladies because and gentlemen. Because again, to me, if anybody's feeling stuck and they're like, I've been trying so hard, I've been giving my all and nothing's working, when they hear this, they're gonna be like, that's why. Why don't I try something else? And that's a life-changing decision.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. We'll put all your links in in the show notes for folks to follow up more. But I always get a takeaway, and I got a great takeaway from this. So I really
Thank you
appreciate
for having
it.
me.